Hello and welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here then hello, my name's Zoe. I do primarily true crime videos on this channel, but sometimes I will do some family vlogs or makeup videos, things like that in between as well. I do post true crime videos at least once a week, so make sure you hit that subscribe button and also turn on that bell so you're notified every single time that I post. I do also have a Patreon that I will leave linked down below if you do want to go and support me over there. I'm not asking any of you to pay me or anything like that. It's just that if you want to take a look and maybe become a part of my Patreon. So today's video is a very interesting but confusing case. So make sure you go and grab yourself a drink or a snack because it may be a little bit of a long one, but it is worth the wait. You're going to have to watch the full video to get the full grasp of what has happened in this case. It's not your usual true crime video where somebody's just murdering somebody else. It's got a lot to it and it's just different. You'll understand what I mean as we get into the video. So if this is the kind of true crime content you want to see more of, please let me know down below. Today we are talking about Diane Scola and the Taconic State Parkway crash. So on the 26th of July 2009, Diane Scola had just finished her holiday with her family and she left Hunter Lake Camp Park in Parksville, New York at around 9:30 AM. She was driving a red 2003 Ford Windstar, and this was actually her brother's car, but she was driving with her 5-year-old son, her 2-year-old daughter and 3 of her nieces. Her husband Daniel Scola had actually left the park at the same time, but because they had their dog with them, he had to drive their truck home. On their way to West Babylon, which is where the family lived, Diane had actually stopped at a McDonald's and also a gas station in Liberty. She was caught on CCTV at this gas station, and it appeared she was trying to buy pain relief medicine but was unable to get any. Diane left Liberty at around 11 AM and she went on to Route 17 and also Interstate 87. She had also crossed the Tappan Bridge and was heading in an easterly direction. At 11:37, Diane actually called her brother Warren Hance. Now Warren Hance was the father of the 3 children that were in Diane's car. She had just informed him that they were stuck in some traffic and they would be delayed. At around 1 PM, another call was made to Warren, but this time it was actually from one of his daughters, and this little girl was saying that her Aunt Diane couldn't see or speak properly. So Diane took over the phone call and confirmed what the little girl had said. It was believed that at the time of this call they was parked up at the side of the road. So Warren said to stay where you are, that he would go and get her and the 5 children and get them home safely. Whilst travelling to them, Warren continuously tried to call Diane, but for some reason she wouldn't answer. At 11:33 p.m, 2 drivers actually called 911 to inform them of a car that was heading onto the northbound exit ramp of the Taconic State Parkway. At the end of this exit, at the interstate of Pleasantville Road, there was actually 2 signs, one saying "do not enter" and one saying "one way." Within a minute of the first call, there were several more calls made to 911 reporting the same car that was heading the wrong way down the parkway. And they said that the car was going approximately 80 miles per hour.
State Police 911.
State Police, you got northbound Taconic. There's a minivan in the right lane going southbound.
911. Hi, I'm on the Taconic Expressway. We just passed exit 100 feet. There's a car going like 70 miles an hour the wrong direction.
State Police 911. Yeah, you got a guy driving south on a northbound Taconic Parkway. Ooh, I was in the left lane. Just Pleasantville Road. He's going like a bat out of hell. He should be already on the same parkway right now. It's a minivan. State Police 911, where's your emergency?
Hi, I'm on the Taconic. Hang on the Sawmill.
The van that's going southbound? Yeah, they're going out for it.
The car drove for 1.7 miles before colliding with a 2004 Chevrolet Trailblazer. This car then struck a 2002 Chevrolet Tracker, and this all happened at around 1:35 p.m. It was Diane's car travelling the wrong way on the Taconic State Parkway. She was driving more than 85 miles per hour when she collided with the Chevrolet. Unfortunately, Diane, her 2-year-old daughter and 2 of her nieces were pronounced dead at the scene. They didn't have seatbelts on, and during later investigations it was revealed that it seemed that they never had seatbelts on and the children wasn't even put in their car seats. Everybody in the Chevrolet that Diane had collided with had suffered extreme injuries. And 81-year-old Michael Bastardi, his 49-year-old son Guy, and their friend Dan Longe had been pronounced dead at the scene. Diane's niece and 5-year-old son were rushed to hospital suffering extreme injuries, but unfortunately later on her niece passed away in hospital. Brian is the only person to have survived the crash in his mum's car. He suffered some broken bones and also suffered extreme head trauma. There was 2 men who witnessed the accident waiting to happen and also when it had happened, and these were the first 2 people to go over and help, and they started to pull people out of the car. So they was trying to pull Diane and the children out of the car. Whilst doing this, they saw a broken bottle of vodka in the car, and the bodies of the children were shaking around that much because they wasn't wearing a seatbelt that they didn't even notice little Brian stuck under everybody when they was pulling people out. During the investigation, a toxicology report was conducted on Diane, and it was confirmed that she had a high level of alcohol and also THC in her system. Now, THC is an active ingredient found in marijuana.
An autopsy was performed by the Westchester County Medical Examiner's Office on the body of Diane Schuler, the operator of the 2003 Ford van who was responsible for this crash. The toxicology from that autopsy shows that Diane Schuler had a blood alcohol content of 0.19%. The legal limit for intoxication in New York State is 0.08%. Toxicology also reveals that Diane Schuler had a high level of THC. THC is the active ingredient contained in marijuana.
How much have you consumed? The weight is what's very important in calculating the number of drinks, and with that level of alcohol, it's approximately 10 drinks are still in her at this time.
On the 8th of August, during a press conference that was held about the crash, Daniel Scola and his attorney had denied that his wife had drank alcohol during the camping trip, never mind drugs. and the reason they didn't drink was because they had several children with them. He then changed his story to that Diane never drank at all, that she was totally teetotal. So he said there was no way that she could have been drunk on that day. He was later asked about the vodka bottle that was found in the car, and his reasoning for this was that they always kept a bottle of vodka in the camper van, and that Diane must have moved it to the car when packing for the holiday. Eventually he did admit that they had both been drinking during this camping trip, but he said Diane didn't touch a drop of alcohol on the day of the crash. The manager of the campsite had said that Diane seemed sober when she left. Also, the gas station attendant said that Diane did seem sober, and they confirmed that she did stop for some pain relief medicine. The employee's words were, "I know for a fact that Diane was not drunk." None of the McDonald's staff noticed any strange behaviour, and she was able to hold a conversation for several minutes with the employees. Daniel denied that his wife ever did drugs, but later on he did change that story, and he told investigators that Diane would smoke marijuana occasionally, usually to help her sleep. Daniel Scola was an officer at the Nassau County Police Department, and even though he was a person of authority, he wasn't doing anything wrong by not telling police that his wife was smoking illegal substances. Because he is classed as a civilian outside of work, there is nothing that they would have been able to do if he had gone up to them and said, "Look, my wife's taking illegal drugs." In November, Diane's sister-in-law, which is actually the mother of these children who passed away, made a statement to police saying that Diane smoked drugs on a regular basis. After a while, Daniel Scola and his attorney came forward and said they believed that the crash was actually caused by a medical issue, so by a stroke or a heart attack. According to Daniel's attorney, Diane had been obese for most of her life, and she had contracted illnesses such as diabetes, heart issues, things like that. So Daniel Scola did come out to say that he wanted to exhume his wife's remains to have further tests taken, such as tests from her hair and fluid in her body. An autopsy was conducted the day after the crash by West Cheshire County, and they ruled out a medical illness being the cause of the crash. Daniel decided he wanted to have the fluids retested that were taken at the time of the crash, but doctors had warned him because of the way that they've been stored very securely. The levels of intoxication would be exactly the same or just a little bit less. Unless they have been stored really badly, the levels and results would be near enough exactly the same. Daniel decided to raise money for the retesting of the fluids, and eventually he did make enough money. The tests were conducted, and it was revealed that the fluids showed similar results to the original test. Diane was excessively intoxicated on alcohol and drugs. The accident was ruled a homicide very quickly. The coroner believes that this crash was caused by Diane's negligence. No one was charged for this crash. They believe that Diane is the only person responsible for this tragedy. The family members of the victims in this crash have been very annoyed with Daniel Scola and him just pushing on the fact that Diane was not intoxicated and that the toxicology reports just aren't true. Understandably, I can see why they are so upset, because it is science. When they're testing your blood, you just can't fault that. That just isn't wrong. Despite the toxicology report, Daniel Scola has been on several TV shows, he's been in several interviews, and he still says she wasn't intoxicated. There has been several lawsuits between Daniel Scola and the victims of the families, whether that be them suing him or him suing them, but they have all either been dropped or dealt with. So there are many theories around this case, and I think the reason why there is a lot of theories is because of the unknown. Now, Diane was known by a lot of people before this crash. A lot of people did describe her as a professional woman. She was all for her family. She was never seen really drinking. She was sort of a teetotal type of person. So people are just really confused what actually led to this day. But obviously, because Daniel's been a bit sketch about what happened on the day, we don't know what happened in the run-in to this accident. The main theory is that Diane had a toothache and she was trying to self-medicate this toothache. She had gone to the gas station and couldn't get painkillers, so she decided to self-medicate with alcohol, maybe the vodka that was in the car, and also marijuana. The only one issue I have with this theory is the medical examiner who gave the results of the toxicology report actually said for Diane to be as intoxicated as she would have had to drink at least 10 drinks. Now, being a responsible mother, if she was maybe just trying to numb the pain in her mouth, I can imagine maybe swelling your mouth with a shot of something or taking one shot and then carrying on driving. But if she was a respectable mother, I don't see her drinking 10 drinks behind the wheel for a toothache and then driving. So that leads me into my opinion. My opinion is that Diane was actually drinking from that vodka bottle that was in the car, and I believe she was drinking this whilst at the wheel. I don't think that this vodka bottle was just simply an old souvenir bottle, because who does that? Unless the bottle's empty, who does that? If Diane had started to drink a bottle of vodka that early in the morning, it is totally possible that she had issues with alcohol anyway. I am not here saying she's an alcoholic because I don't know Diane personally. I don't know what she's been through. I don't know any of that. This is just my opinion on the case. This would explain why the witnesses were saying she wasn't drunk, because if you're an alcoholic, I think you become very good at hiding the fact that you're intoxicated. It was also speculated that Diane had issues with drugs. Now, a piece of her hair was never taken to do a test on, because I know if they test your hair, they can see how long drugs have actually been in your system. I think it's something like up to a year. Don't quote me, I don't know if that's the right length of time, but I know that that's something they can do. It definitely feels like there's something missing from this case. There is a missing piece of information that would just make everything clearer on as to why Diane crashed the car. Now, people have claimed maybe it's a murder-suicide, but to everybody else, she had a total normal life before this. Right up until the minute she left in that car, everything was fine. Now, I know we don't know what people are feeling inside, but it seemed like she had the perfect life. She was earning a high salary, she had beautiful children, she had a husband, she owned her own home. Like, it just bewilders me. I just really don't think that it would be a murder-suicide. Maybe her husband Daniel is leaving a big piece of information out, because maybe they argued before they got into the car and then she turned to alcohol. I just feel like there's something really, really missing. But unfortunately, we will never be able to see into Diane's mind. We will never know why she drove whilst intoxicated, and there was children in the car, and we would never know what ultimately caused these awful events. So that is all for today's video. If you enjoyed this video, please give this video a massive thumbs up. I know it's a little different than my usual sort of stuff, but if you do like these types of videos that are true crime but not quite your usual murder and victim sort of video, please let me know if you want to see more of them down below in the comments. So give this video a big thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Please make sure you hit that subscribe button, also turn on that bell so you're notified every single time that I post, and I shall see you in my next true crime video. Bye.